Pros and cons of being a hermit, living a hermitic lifestyle. Walden, Henry David Thoreau, Life in the Woods, a little cabin, simple life, a lot of time alone. Welcome in, much love, Trav here. And this is interesting. We've been talking, and I've been talking about how to live a better life, how to optimize your days and have better individual days, and how humans are such social creatures and we want to have good social lives and have a lot of love flowing back and forth. But I got a comment coming in from a viewer who said, yo, what do you think about being a hermit though? Is that ever appropriate? I'm going off to basically live in a cabin in Alaska for a year. And what do you think about that? So I thought have you ever experienced that? So I think that's a good question. I'm going to talk a little bit from my own experience, but also from various famous hermits that there have been, not necessarily lifetime hermits. So I think that's a key thing to consider, pros and cons of being a hermit. If you make a permanent decision to be a hermit, then you might be in for a bad time. But seasonally, or for periods of your life, absolutely, I think it's great actually. And it also varies. Some of you just really won't want this. Some of you are more attuned to it. We depend on levels of social interaction. Some of us are creatives who like to write and like to have a lot of time alone. Some of us are socialites who like to work in teams and really don't want that much time alone. So I think it helps to have a little bit of self-awareness, right? So let's talk about the pros of being a hermit. This is a big thing. You have a lot more time to think. You aren't distracted by other people and other people's agendas and other people putting on the television and talking to you and inviting you along to things. You just have a lot of time alone, which is conducive to boredom, and boredom is conducive to creativity because you have to become self-entertained at this point. And self-entertainment often goes with producing and writing and long-term projects. Again, like writing Walden, Henry David Thoreau, famous experiment. This dude goes out when he's 27 and lives till about he's 30, lives in a little cabin in the woods and writes. And if you have a book inside of you want to write, then I think that it's fair and fine to go be a hermit for a while. It's, if you're a creative and you're a writer and you're an artist, and you want to work on your philosophy and your deep thinking, then sure, you should go be a hermit, whether that means living in the woods or just kind of having more of a solitary lifestyle for a time. I think that's the main. There's just more time for reflection, more time for deep thought. And to give you an example, I just came from Hawaii. I spent 3 months there, incredibly fun, very social, working with the team, a lot going on. I had very little time alone. Never really bored, but I didn't have too much time for deep thought and creative work. And as a consequence, I didn't write much, I didn't produce much, I didn't feel as accomplished, and I probably wasn't contributing as much to a greater society as I should have been. So I came from Hawaii for a couple magic tournaments and stopped in Arcata on the way up in the winter time, and it's dead season and it's quiet and it's cold. And I stayed inside for 2 weeks and wrote a book, Magic Life, My Story of Becoming a Pro Player, if you care to read my story. And I was a hermit for this time period. I had a couple friends. I wasn't totally solitary. I was staying with a couple friends, but spent the majority of my time alone writing because that environment was very conducive to it. And it wasn't necessarily a great time, but I'm here whether I had a great time or not. And I produced more as a result, so I'm happy for that. Cons of being a hermit. Loneliness, boredom, missing out on socializing, missing out on teamwork, stagnating your social skills. We're very social creatures, so you spend too much time as a hermit, you check out of society, you may have emotional problems, emotional needs unfulfilled. You may have social problems, social needs unfulfilled. And you come back to society, you may be an awkward person and feel that society has passed you by. And this is why I think it's important that if you're going to be a hermit, think about doing it seasonally. 1 year in your life, 1 year out of every 4 is a season. 1 year or 3 months out of every year is a season, right? So if you're going to be a hermit, make sure that it's not forever if you don't want it to be forever, or you have an end point set up. You know, Thoreau was at Walden for like 2 years and 2 months, and then he came back to society and lived in society for the rest of his life for the most part. So that's the main thing. Question for you to contemplate, think about: who are you? How much social time do you want? How much social interaction do you need? How much time alone do you like, right? Where can you be a hermit? How can you be a hermit? How can you spend more time alone? What sort of lifestyle would be conducive to spending more time alone? What would you do if you had a lot of time alone? Would you make music? Would you write? Would you think? Would you contemplate? What would you do with it? How would it help you grow? And then how long would you want to do that, live that sort of a lifestyle for? How often would you? So thoughts on that. If you're a hermit or have experience as a hermit, please leave a comment down below. Would like to hear. Appreciate you. Much love. And once again, go check out my book, Magic Life. You will enjoy it. Quick, fun read. So appreciate you. Much love, and speak soon.